This is the world of company secretaries. On this channel, you can watch interviews with company secretaries across the world. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon. Sir, we are coming to the fag end of the interview. So, I want to ask one question, not really about CS or your journey, but related to your industry. Now, in the last 3-4 years, we are seeing a huge change in this new age fintech companies coming, and there's a lot of talk about the transition of the banking industry as a whole. So, with this happening, what is your take on it? Really, will there be a sea change, or is it just another passing phase?
From my experience, I can tell few points. First point is, if you see from the last 1 decade, is that any new startup or a new cycle, the business cycle has come down from back then was 10 years, 15 years to just a matter of 5 years and 3 years. So the business cycle has completely come down to a very short cycle. So you see that a particular company who is into retail, suddenly it will be able to raise so much of money, but at the same time, in a span of, I don't want to take the name, but there is a listed entity which boomed up very fast. At the same time, it came down. So what I'm trying to say here is, it's not because of governance issues or so, but the business cycle is such that any new technology, any startup which has run today, there is another competition. So I don't want to take a name. There is one fintech company which was raising funds, a lot of money now. So because my statement will go on a public domain, so I don't want to take a name.
Yeah,
there
sure.
There is a fintech company which raises huge amount of money, and it's based on a particular platform and technology. And within 3 years or 4 years, there's another company, another group of youngsters who are coming out with a new technology in a much simpler way. The entire process actually shifts to this. When I say, just to give an example, is how many digital transactions happening today versus a decade ago. For example, how many of us are using UPI based other applications? I'm just giving an example like GPay, PhonePe, or any other thing. And you have also payment gateways also, right?
Correct.
I'm saying this from the angle is, the moment the UPI came in, everybody started connecting with UPI. UPI is again, sort of a very good invention that has happened for the India. And a lot of other countries are trying to replicate this model. And we are pioneers, we can say so, that the India is able to convert itself most of the transactions in digital way, especially now in this COVID scenario and lockdown scenario. You can go to internet and search for transactions which are converted into digital from physical. So now we are in a phase called as phygital.
Yes.
From that, probably we might end up going to a completely digital transformation also. Why I'm saying this is from the angle of, since you asked this question is financial entities coming, a lot of fintechs, is you have to see from the angle of business cycle. Business cycle is dependent on technology today. If somebody comes with a new technology, this fintech is over, there's a new fintech coming up. So as far as the industry financial sector is concerned, it will continue to be in the same fashion because of they can add up fintechs to the process and add technology to the processes. That's like upgradation. It's just like you have a Windows 8 and then Windows 10. You keep on upgrading it, but the process remains same. You go to the start, then click on Word, and then you type. That will not change. So I'm just giving an example of how the sector would perform. Other thing in India is about majority of the Indians have a habit of savings. So that will not immediately shift, though they are youngsters, but they do have a little bit of responsibility when it comes to salaries. Considering this lockdown situation or last year's a little bit of economic slowdown, you would see that the savings related behavior will increase. It is increasing and it will increase. It could be in different platforms. I'm not saying X or Y. It could be through SIP, it could be mutual fund, it could be insurance, it could be anything. It could be savings. You never know what it is. Some they try to put it in equity and they want to try their luck there also. So equity is not a platform where you need to try your luck. It's more of, again, a more research-based way of doing things in that.
Yes.
So when I say this, fintechs can only add up to the process. It's just like a bogie to the train. They can't, immediately take over the train. It's not possible, because one is the mentality of the Indian, as I said, the people, and the second thing is we are highly regulated entities. Financial sector is a very sensitive and a trust. We are the trustees of the entire economy. The entire financial or banking system is the trustees of the entire economy, because whatever they need, this is what actually helps them out. So therefore, there will be little bit of here and there, plus or minuses coming up. You see that there are a lot of new fintechs coming up, but it's all about banks are still growing, if you see so. So that way, as I said, we can add up bogies to it to become bigger, train. So
I think that insight is very interesting. So fintech companies is more about the technology and not more about the finance, because finance is still the traditional sector. And like you said, it's like a bogie to the train, and finance will also be very strong going further. Banks are growing. And you also mentioned about how people will start saving more with COVID and the lockdown and the change in mentality, where we want to save for the rainy day. I think these insights is what we do this interview show for, because the expert opinion and the way you looked at it is very different. Because most of the opinions which our viewers would see is more about fintech, and it's going to grow in a big way. But the angle you brought in was very interesting, sir. So we are coming to the yes, sir.
I'm saying from the angle of not only fintech, but I'm saying any startup for that matter. You take business, there's a very short cycle.
Correct.
If they want to make it bigger, their business model should be strong enough, and they should have a financial backup strong enough. Otherwise, fintechs will, you would see that startups, of course, they will generate employment or new technology, knowledge and all that. But somewhere they end up consolidating with other guys. There is no other choice but to either swim or to go with another person or tie up with another person. Because ultimately, in order to go to, there's a concept called as transformation. In a second layer of transformation, you need capital and the energy and the resource and your capability to grow to the next level. So that survival is very, very important. So that is where the gap comes into picture. And I'm not only saying about fintechs, but also about any startup for that matter. You go and check this, is that the business cycles are becoming shorter and shorter.
Yes, sir, that was really interesting.